Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ari. I'm a Taurus Sun, Cancer Rising, Aquarius Moon, and a life path number 7. If you're not new here, thank you for watching another video of mine and choosing to support me further. It does mean a lot to me. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe before you do leave this video, especially if you're able to relate or connect with the topic I'm talking about today. So I am here with a different sort of video, more of like a podcast, just talking about my experiences, about a particular subject. And I know a lot of my subscribers are here for my love readings, but I wanted to talk about this subject because I have brought it up in a couple of my love readings. So let me know if you enjoy this sort of video where I just talk about my life experiences as they pertain to the subject. So today I wanted to talk about karmic relationships and karmic ties. And in this video, I'll just be talking about my own experience off the top of my head. So sorry if I'm slow at talking or I'm thinking. This is just purely based off of what comes to mind, because it's easier for me to talk about it that way. But yeah, I will be switching back and forth between a couple different slides. Before I do get started in this topic, I just want to shout out one of my favorite YouTube channels. Her channel name is Magnetize Yourself. And she's one of my favorite. I just really enjoy her content. And as you will see, there's a little comparison chart that's from her Instagram page. So I will link her channel and her Instagram down below. She provides very helpful insight to karmic ties, soulmate ties, twin flame relationships. And then as far as any other content I do use in this video, I will of course link it down below. So now getting into my experience and how to identify a karmic relationship or a karmic tie. So some of you might not even be familiar with what a karmic relationship is. I think it could be very comparable and very similar to just a toxic relationship where you're putting energy into a relationship or a connection, and in return it's just draining you. And in my experience, when I was going through a karmic relationship or even a toxic relationship, I would always describe it as there's more pain than good associated with it. And that, I'm a very sensitive, emotional person at times. I like to reflect a lot. And when I started to realize that, it was just very hurtful to me, because there's just so much that goes into a karmic relationship. So I'm going to read off of this one slide that I'll have up on the screen, but basically karmic relations are based on past life experiences where two partners meet in their present lives to complete an unfinished deed, business, or an emotional trauma. And I know that not all of us believe in past life relationships, but I would also compare this to karmic relationships and even toxic relationships. Those two go hand in hand. So from now on, I'll just refer to it as karmic relationships. They often teach us something very profound about ourselves and how we want to move in the future. And it does change our perspective on what we want for ourselves. And when you're going through a karmic cycle, a karmic relationship, it's a lot of ups and downs. And personally, when I was going through that, it really changed who I was for the negative. But once I got out of it, it changed me for the better. But there were a lot of periods of just hopelessness and just unhappiness. And naturally, that's not the type of person I am. I would describe myself as like resilient, very optimistic, but when I was in this connection with my ex-person or my old person, it just didn't bring out the good in me, and it affected me the most, but it also affected how I was treating others in terms of who I was in this relationship with. So moving on to the signs of karmic relationships, and I'll just be reading off of the slides and kind of sharing my experiences on it. We have karmic relations start instantly. So when I met the person I was going through this cycle with, we first classified it as just like hanging out, getting to know each other, but there were no clear set boundaries. And I had already gotten to know this person and kind of gotten to know what they had been through. And for me, like, I just saw a lot of similarities between me and this other person and how much we're so alike, but we're different from one another. And a lot of karmic relationships start with those type of trauma bonding experiences, just being able to relate to what another person has been through and building love upon that. But I think when a karmic relationship is built like that, a lot of the time one person isn't healed, and you've heard that saying, hurt people hurt people. So when you're trying to initiate a good positive relationship and one person or maybe even both people, they're not standing by to what they truly want, or they're just moving with unhealed problems within themselves, it'll gradually break down the relationship and break down someone, or it'll just not work out for the best. And that's what I learned. So yeah, we bonded through our emotional experiences and our traumatic experiences, but also I'm just the type to try to help people in any way I can, and in doing so, I lose sight of who I am sometimes. And that's like, for me personally, that's one of the first red flags that I have to look out for. Just making sure that I'm not giving too much of myself for someone who I don't know would do the same for me, or just putting too much time and effort when whatever hasn't shown me that they deserve that. So that was kind of where I felt wrong, because even in the beginning, and my karmic relationship was over the course of like 3 years, I would say. And that's combined friendship and then actual relationship. But even in the beginning, I had noticed that, but with me and just whoever can relate to this, you have to set firm boundaries when you're trying to get to know someone on that type of intimate level. And one thing I've definitely learned is, if someone isn't doing the bare minimum that you consider for yourself, they should be doing more than the bare minimum. But if someone is doing something towards you or acting a way towards you that you just don't appreciate or makes you feel hurt in any type of way, you should stick to that and put yourself first. Don't put up with that. So yeah, gradually through this relationship, I found myself giving a lot more of my time, my space, my effort, just a lot of things towards this person, and they weren't reciprocating that. And that's kind of something I need to work on, is just not giving a lot of my resources, whether it's mentally, emotionally, materialistically, to people who don't deserve it. And I won't go too much into that, but basically I felt like I was giving way more. And meanwhile, this person who I was in a karmic bond with, I feel like I healed them. And if you can relate to being an empath or a light worker, I like to even refer to it as like a heart healer. When you're in the space of someone else who is still going through something, or like who is hurt, and they could be hurting you just in the slightest bit of ways with their energy, but they're around your good energy, that energy transfers off of you to them in a way. And a lot of people describe this as like an energy vampire. And I've talked about this in a few of my videos before I started doing my love reading, so I do have some content on that. I believe it's my empath playlist that I'll link below as well. But when you want the good for everyone and you have good intentions and your heart is pure, a lot of people recognize that. And because you're looking out for everyone on top of yourself, you could just be susceptible to people taking your good energy, and it drains you simultaneously. And if you can relate to being a starseed, I have some videos on that as well. Starseeds are heightened beings from other dimensions that have heightened abilities, whether it's like emotional intelligence, and or just other sorts of spiritual abilities. A lot of people aren't used to that, and this can be a karmic relationship, can be like platonic, it could be work wise, it could be someone you're intimate with, it could be a range of different people, but yeah, a lot of people will take your good energy and take what you are for granted, and you might not realize it as it's going on, and by the time you do realize it, you've already kind of adapted to their negative ways. So over time, this person, they really started to care for me and they changed their ways, but I was just so stuck on, by that time I was realizing I didn't deserve what I went through previously with them, but they were starting to change and I was more stuck in what they would do, and they still had some of the same tendencies, but they had opened their heart more. But by that time it was definitely a toxic relationship, which is why I say both of these can be pretty similar. So I started kind of acting in a way where I was taking out my hurt on them, and because I didn't recognize to just walk away, like I had already outgrown that relationship or part of my life, the comfort, and it was very codependent as well, the comfort of being around that person and what we had gone through together, that's what made me still love them and I still love and care about this person, but not in that way. But that's what made me stay with this relationship. And because I kept reminiscing on all the hurt, I was kind of projecting that outwardly. And honestly, I just started to feel like a horrible person because I just felt very mean, and I'm not a mean person at all. And one thing that when I look back and when I think about these times, like it just feels so bad to have hate in your heart. It's not good at all. It's so, if you realize that love is a way for things, whether it's love for doing something or looking forward to something throughout the day, just building love, self-love, and that's what I'll also get into on how to undo karmic bonds. But once you start leading with love in your life instead of holding on to hate and not forgiving, and I understand everyone is on their own time frame, on their own path, but love is a way that works out most of the time. That's what I've learned. So because I wasn't letting go and just escaping from this person completely, this relationship was very half-assed, and we both kept getting into altercations that were not leading up to anything good. And each time I would know how I felt. I would personally acknowledge how I felt, and I would wish for a way out, because I started to kind of also develop, like, in a way, fear. And that's another red flag. You should never fear the person you're with. But I kept, like, wishing for a way out, in a way where this is the end of it, like, we can't come back from this. And I had many different situations and outings that I could have took, but the codependency of it all, and just the comfort, just the history. And I am a Taurus sun. I like to use astrology to understand myself better. I'm a Taurus sun, and Tauruses, they're very prone to relationships that don't bring out the good in them, because it's what they're used to and they don't like change. So that's why I feel like that has a huge reason to do with it. But yeah, I just wasn't ready to leave. But I had many different, like, ways out, and you always have a way out. You should never feel like you're stuck, because you're not, but I just didn't use them. What officially ended this karmic relationship was I had moved back home because I was done with school, and I just knew that I wanted to be away from this person, but because we were residing in the same place, it was just very hard to do so. And it was sort of like just divine timing. Like, I knew I was moving away and that would be the end of it. And even after I moved away, we still kept in contact, but I just felt very drained whenever we did speak on the phone, because this person did have other toxic tendencies that were just very smothering. And it wasn't healthy. And I was able to identify that way easier being away from this person. And you should never feel drained with a relationship you're in. If you feel like this person is draining you, whether it's work life, friendship, romantic wise, that's another key sign that maybe that isn't for you. Because if it takes away from your own personal strength and motivation and self-worth, then it's not worth it. So yeah, distance really helped sever that. And I had already, like, I would reminisce on, like, the good memories we had, because we also shared a dog together, and that kind of brought us together. And I would get sad just thinking about the moments and times that we did go through, but I had already figured this person had moved on, maybe not emotionally, but they were doing other things to fill their voids. But I still wish them the best, because I would try to express that to them, because I knew that this person was going through something way bigger that they weren't ready to confront themselves. And they had already, like, apologized a lot, and I don't want anyone to feel guilt, although that's a necessary emotion at times. I've grown to learn that life is more about living in, like, just love and like the good moments, and having hate in your heart or feeling ashamed, it's not conducive to our growth unless you're learning from it. But if you're just feeling guilty over things, and I have already forgiven this person, although I would go through little moments of, wow, I shouldn't put up with that. Like, this person didn't deserve the best of me. It was still nothing but the best for them, because it does no good harboring hate in your heart. That's what I've learned. And fast forward to now, fortunately, I'm pretty sure they're doing good. We don't talk, which I think is the best. And I'm just happy that this person was able to move on, and I was too, because that karmic relationship was it was definitely a learning experience for both of us. And I just hope that person has taken their lessons from it and have incorporated it to the best of their abilities within their life. Excuse me. So I'm just going to talk briefly about how to undo karmic bonds, and then I will also just talk about other little side notes of it. So, how to undo karmic bonds, learn to love and respect yourself. I feel like that is pretty much key, because my karmic bond was also based off of codependency, which is unhealthy, because it's like a lot of the time with codependency, when you're with your person, it's good for a little bit, but then you get annoyed and frustrated. At least that's how it was for me. But then when you're not with them, it's like, I wish this person was here. But then when you're together, it's the complete opposite. And that could be hard when you're trying to leave a toxic relationship in general, because it's in a way, how can I do this without the person who I care about most without me? And what helped me, which I just mentioned, was just moving and having space, but also time. And there's this, if you all are interested in some really good music, I would definitely recommend J. Cole. He's my favorite artist, but in his most recent album, in one of his songs, he said, time is the best prescription, and things take time. And if you've heard, healing isn't linear, it's not, and healing is very hard to do. But once you make little steps towards healing and just sitting with your feelings and not using destructive outlets to cope, like alcohol, drugs, it becomes easier. And although I've realized that for a while now, sometimes it is very hard to sit with my feelings, because when I feel sad, sometimes it's like nothing is going my way, nothing is right. Where am I going to end up? Like, what's my purpose, you know? But with time and with just acknowledging how you feel and what you deserve and building up that self-respect, things get easier, because you realize your potential, you realize what you deserve, you realize what should have been left behind, what you don't need anymore in life. So I would recommend journaling, writing out your feelings, especially if you feel like no one understands you but yourself. That's how I felt a lot of times. Or if you trust someone, if you have a best friend or someone close in your family, definitely reach out to them and share what you feel comfortable with. Another one is try to remove your deepest fears and develop your self-esteem. With this, for me, how I relate to that is me setting boundaries, and also kind of taking things lightly in a way. When you don't like blame yourself for things and how people are being towards you, things become a lot easier, because when you deal with other energies that are toxic, most of the time it's that person. They're going through something, they don't know how to express themselves in a healthy way, or some people are just miserable, maybe even jealous. So once you realize and stop blaming yourself for things that have happened to you, you'll start to feel better as well. And then I'll also just say, express your emotions freely. That's another one. And this whole slide, it's from The Mindful, so I'll try to link that below as well. But yeah, it's okay to feel how you feel. And if you feel like you're going through a toxic relationship or a karmic cycle, whatever doesn't sit well with you, it's for a reason. So don't just brush off your feelings so easily, because I do feel like we know ourselves the best. So follow your intuition, follow your emotions. But yeah, I do feel like with karmic relationships and even just any karmic cycle we go through in life, we will always end up learning something new as time goes on. But once you're settled and once your emotions are together and you're able to live freely without whoever was once with you, sharing that karmic bond, karmic cycle with, it's just like a weight off of your shoulders, because for me, it just feels like I've grown so much. I'm a much better person. For the future, I know what to not put my energy into so it doesn't get the best of me. And also, you're able to decipher what type of relationships you would like to pursue for yourself. So yeah, that is all for this little podcast type video. I do hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.